Hello everyone. For this week's lesson, we're going to continue on with what we were doing in class and practice drawing shapes in 1-point perspective. So if you did this part in class, you can go ahead and fast forward to where you are. If not, I'm going to catch you up right now. So when we make 3D shapes, we use something called 1-point perspective, and the 1 point is this kind of black hole called the vanishing point, where all of the lines end up. So we can turn a regular shape into a 3D shape by connecting the corners of the shapes to the vanishing point, as I'm doing here. Now, I really recommend using a ruler or a straight edge for this. I have a pretty steady hand, I'd say, and even I don't try to do this freehand. We're kind of trying to trick your eye here into thinking, that it's 3D. We're going for this really sharp and precise effect. So if it's a little wobbly, it makes the effect not work so well. So we really want to try our best to get these super straight lines, and luckily we have tools to help us do that, like rulers or the edges of books. So what I'm doing now is making more shapes. I want to practice them from all different angles. And I'm just doing the ones that are closest. I'm doing the corners that are closest to the vanishing point. And if I get a corner that's the line's going to overlap one of the spaces I already drew, I'm not going to draw it in. So this one has just a teeny tiny sliver of an edge. So I am going to draw it in there. But I'm not going to draw in the back corner because that would go in between the other one that we've got there. And I'm just moving my hand, so if you didn't see the vanishing point, you would just see this as a 3D shape. But because we do include the vanishing point, it looks like there's this kind of like explosion or firework of shapes, which is what we are going for. So I'm just continuing to add shapes. I would start out with simple shapes like squares, triangles, whatever has a straight edge and corners, and I will show you how to do curved shapes at the end of the video, and something even trickier like a star. So again, I'm not including that one on the very back because it would go through the shape, the edge that I have already. So I'm just leaving that there. Now that I've got these 3, I'm going to try something a little trickier. I'm going to do a hexagon. Hexagons have 6 sides. So I'm drawing those 6 sides. And I'm going to connect the closest 1, 2, and 3, the closest sides to the vanishing point. You can see my colored pencil kind of made a little mark there. That's okay. So we are going to be aiming for 10 shapes here. I'd like to see 10 shapes in your shape fireworks, your shape explosion. And I'd like you to start with squares, triangles, diamonds, and move your way up to more difficult shapes. So I'm going to start fast forwarding this a little bit. You can always pause if you need to. All right, I'm going to do a round shape now. I'm going to do an oval. So for a round shape, we don't have any corners to connect. So the rule is that we go from the highest point to the lowest point and we connect. That's going to serve as our corner, and you can see the effect isn't quite as powerful. We would need to add in some shading for it to really look round. Remember, round objects don't have corners, so we rely on highlights and shadows to bring depth to them, which is what's missing here. So I'm just counting. I've got 6 shapes. I've got to add 4 more. Let's try a heart. So hearts are a little different, that they do have a little corner, but they are also round. So for this one, I'm going to connect to the outside, the furthest outside points. And I'm also going to connect that corner in the middle. And you can see it works better for this one than it does for the oval. All right, let's try something trickier. I'm gonna add a star now. Star is the same thing. We are just going at the corners. So even though it looks like a tricky shape, there are lots of lines to add. But I'd say it's probably easier than a line like an oval or something curved. Okay, so just keep adding your shapes until you get 10. And then I'm really gonna fast forward through this part, but I'm just coloring my shapes here. I wanted to do lots of different shapes. I recommend using something like colored pencils if you have them. Crayons are kind of fuzzy on the edges. It's hard to get like a really straight, precise edge with them, but if that's all I have, that's fine. And then totally optional again, but I'm just going over my lines here with a Sharpie to really make them pop. So good luck!